Good evening, everyone. So we'll be starting shortly. So let's wait for a couple of minutes so that more students and parents can join in. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Once again, hope you are all doing good and keeping safe. I am Arindam, part of marketing team at SL Technologies, and this series is brought to you by TechBee. TechBee is SL's early career program for Class 12 students who want to kickstart their careers in technology right after Class 12. In this series, we invite people from different walks of life who share their perspective ideas to Class 12 students so that they can make better choices on their careers ahead. And today, we have a guest who is a renowned career coach and counselor, Mr. Bhaskar Karmapudi. So, Mr. Bhaskar Karmapudi is a management graduate with specialization in human resource. He has spent over 25 years in the industry in both public and private sector, out of which the recent 12 years have been with complete focus on training and development. Mr. Bhaskar Karmapudi has trained more than 35,000 individuals, around 800 trainers. He has been a resource person in number of faculty development programs. He has till date conducted train the trainer program for more than 800 trainers in the states of Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Maharashtra, and Madhya Pradesh on aptitude, communication skills, and soft skills. So now over to you, Mr. Bhaskar Karmapudi.
Yeah, thank you, Arindam. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this session on how to address the exam fear. In fact, we'll be spending close to about an hour. Over the next 1 hour, we will understand the meaning of exam fear, why the fear is caused. We will also look at various aspects of addressing the exam fear. So, Arindam, can you help me out with the slides? I would want to pull up. Yeah, thanks a lot. So guys, we'll actually be using some content on these slides, which will help you to understand better in the process of our discussion. And towards the end of my presentation and our discussion, you will have an opportunity to also ask questions, anything regarding the topic of handling exam fear, anything related to HCL TechBee program, or other questions related to planning your career. Any of those questions, you will have enough opportunity to ask towards the end of the webinar. So my suggestion is, if you have not already done that, quickly grab a notebook and a pen, because the information that we'll be discussing might be very useful for you. So you should ideally be planning to take notes so that you will have it at your disposal for future reference. So with that, we'll start off. So before we start, as I was saying, this session will run for 1 hour and we will have a discussion on the topic. The topic is managing handling exam fear. Now, the CBSE plus 2 exams are just about 2 weeks away. 26th April, the schedule has been already announced. Many students now are in the process of preparing. And in that process, we also are aware that students, some of them tend to undergo and experience a lot of stress, a lot of strain. Students are worried about their performance in the exams. And hence, this session is planned to help you with all those issues. Now, every student obviously wants to emerge with flying colors. Isn't that true? And that being the case, The fact that you have decided to be part of this online session today is the first step in addressing that exam fear you might be experiencing. So, first of all, congratulations and a huge applause to every one of you, students and parents who have decided to be part of this session, right? Because this is the first step which will help you to smash your exam fear. And of course, the question is, how many of you feel that you do not have enough time to prepare for your exams? I'm sure some of you are under this impression that because the exam schedule is already there starting from the 26th of this month, maybe some of you feel that you do not have enough time to prepare. And maybe that could be the reason for the stress and strain that you might be experiencing, right? So if that is the case, how many of you feel that you do not have enough time to prepare for your exams? Right? So would you prefer to actually quickly respond on the comment section? If you are one of the students who feel you do not have enough time to prepare for your exams, quickly type the letter I, type I in the chat window in the comment section, and then we'll start off from there, right? So let me quickly see your comments on the section. Meanwhile, I'll take you to the next slide on the screen. Now on the screen you see this number 86,400. I'm sure some of you know the meaning of this number, the implication of this number. What is this number? What does it stand for? 86,400. Any guess what it stands for? What do you think this number stands for? 86,400. Right? Let me help you out with understanding that. We know in a day there are 24 hours. Every hour contains 60 minutes. And of course, each minute has 60 seconds. If you actually multiply these three numbers, 24 into 60 into 60, so that we get the number of seconds, you will see that in a day, every single day, we get almost 86,400 seconds. That's the number that's displayed on the screen. Now look at this. We get 86,400 seconds every day. How many of these seconds are you able to utilize for preparing for your exams? That's the question I have for every one of you. Are you able to utilize maximum part of this? Are you first aware that so many seconds are being given to us every single day? Because this 86,400 seconds that we get every day, they expire by midnight today, by 12 o'clock in the night today. Whatever remaining time expires, you can't carry it forward for the next day, isn't it? And of course, tomorrow you are given another set of 86,400 seconds. It's a blessing, isn't that true? Isn't it a blessing that every day we are being given 86,400 seconds, and it's completely dependent on us how we use that time available at our disposal, right? At our disposal. Students who actually use it appropriately, who plan well, who structure the preparation, are the students who actually say that they never have any fear of the exams, they do not have any stress or the strain. Whereas the other hand, students who actually are not prepared well, who have not planned well, they are the guys who actually are not able to use this time that they have on their hands, and hence they have the fear of the exams. So I hope you understood this significance, the importance of this number 86,400. So my suggestion is, in your notebook, in big letters, write down that number 86,400. And now on the screen I have a quote for every one of you. Let me read it out for you. This says, don't say that you don't have enough time. You have the same amount of hours per day that were given to Michelangelo, Mother Teresa, Leonardo da Vinci, Albert Einstein, and of course, everyone else in this world. Look at all the people whom we consider to be great achievers in the world today, in the past, in the present. These are the guys who have been able to utilize the time available. And obviously, the fact remains that every one of us, including you and me, every single human being on this planet gets the same number of seconds every day, the same number of minutes every day, the same number of hours every day. Isn't that true? We get 24 hours every day. The question is, how many of these 24 hours are you able to use fruitfully? How many of the hours are you just whiling away without using them constructively? And hence, this quote given by Jackson Brown, I'm sure some of you might have heard of his name. Jackson Brown Jr. is a very well-known, reputed author. He's a New York Times best-selling author. He has written a book called Life's Little Instruction Book. Life's Little Instruction Book. You should definitely read that book if you're not already done that. Very interesting, very what you would say, informative, inspiring, motivating book, and it helps us understand how we need to manage our life. And this is the quote given by him. He said, do not just say that you don't have enough time. Everyone in this world has been given the same amount of time. We are getting the same amount of time. You have to actually look at how much of that time are you able to utilize. And obviously that needs a lot of willingness, lot of ability, and also the clarity regarding how and what you want to achieve, right? Now, over the next 45 minutes, we will look at these three things. We will first look at the meaning, the implication, why exam fear happens, and then we will look at how to manage the exam fear. I'll share a couple of tips and inputs that have been found to be successfully implemented by students many times over the last couple of years. And finally, we'll have question and answer session. Is that fine with every one of you? Yeah, wonderful. So let us start with this question. Why exam fear? Why do you think students experience exam fear? Why do you think some students undergo stress and strain the moment the exam dates are announced? Many reasons, obviously. You know what? Because students lack confidence. And that is one important reason why many students complain that they have this exam fear, that they're not prepared for the exams. And Benjamin Spock said, you have to trust yourself because you actually know more than you think you do. Today, if I ask you to actually attempt a question paper on any one of the subjects that you have in your curriculum, many students would say, no, we are not prepared, you didn't tell us beforehand. But that's not true. You know what? The fact, it seems, is that, as said by Benjamin Spock, the fact remains that you actually know more than you think you do. It means you should be aware of how much you know, how much you do not know. You have to learn to trust yourself, and because that will help you to plan your timetable when you want to prepare for the exam also. So why does exam fear happen for students? Do you know that fear is actually a defensive mechanism? Fear is a defensive mechanism that our human body, the brain, uses to ensure better performance. Imagine even the most well-known reputed speaker, the most uh, accomplished or successful orator, spokesperson in this world, it seems when he stands up onto the stage to deliver a lecture, even that person also undergoes some amount of fear, some amount of stress. The reason is, as human beings, our minds are programmed, we are governed, we are actually programmed to plan for better performance. Every one of us want to give better performance in whatever we do. Isn't that true? And I'm sure every one of you as students, you want to ensure the best performance in your exams. And of course, that is one reason why the brain, human body, tends to use the fear. Creation of fear is the outcome of a defensive mechanism that the human body uses to ensure that we do not undergo major stress and strain. So fear is an indication that we are actually planning, we are actually looking for performing in a better and the best possible way. Now, if you look at specific concrete reasons why students have exam fear, one, of course, many students start preparing for the exams even before they understand the test pattern. This is a very important concept. You should never plan your preparation, start your preparation without understanding the test pattern, the question paper pattern. How many questions would be there totally, right? How many questions would you be required to answer? Is there any choice available? How many multiple choice questions would be there? How many short answer questions would be there? How many long answer questions? How many essay type of questions will be there? All this is part of the test pattern, isn't it? And that is where you have to start your preparation with, because once you understand the test pattern, it becomes easy for you. When you get into the actual reading of the chapters, referring to your notes, etc., you will realize what might be the possible short answer questions, what might be the possible long answer questions, essay questions, or bit questions. And that's the reason why, because many students do not bother to understand and study the test pattern, they have exam fear, because in their mind they don't have clarity as to what they can expect in the exam, and hence the fear is caused. The second reason is that many students do not have reference notes. Obviously, when you attended the classes in your class 11, class 12, etc., you are taking notes. That's the usual expectation, isn't it? Notes as the faculty explains in the class. Have you already done that? Do you have your reference notes ready? If not, definitely that could be a reason why you have this exam fear. And the second thing is that even if you have not made any notes during the live classes, nothing to worry. Now when you start your preparation, you can actually refer to your textbook and then start going through each chapter and prepare the reference notes, because if you do not have the reference notes, that also can lead to the creation of exam fear. And this is another major reason why many students undergo stress and strain, because they do not have clarity regarding what is the scope of each chapter, what is the scope of the syllabus, how much of that syllabus they already are thoroughly acquainted with, how much of the syllabus they are not aware of, how much further preparation they have to put in. Because they don't have clarity, they actually experience this exam fear, experience the stress and strain. And the third reason is that many students do have not prepared chapter summaries. You know what? Reference notes is entirely different from preparing a summary for each chapter. Both are entirely different. Reference notes is a more descriptive, more lengthy, more detailed version of the chapter information, whereas we are talking about preparing a chapter summary. For every chapter, you should prepare your own summary. In some textbooks, you would see at the end of the chapter, there'll be heading which says key points that have been discussed, or key points to study, key points to remember, etc. Isn't it? The list of points are available there, furnished there at the end of each chapter. If you combine them, it becomes a summary of the chapter. Now, if you already have it in your textbook, wonderful. Sorry. If not, it is your responsibility to prepare the chapter summary for every chapter, and it is possible to do for every subject, irrespective of the nature of the subject, right? And another reason why students experience exam fear is that they have not bothered to solve the previous papers. I'm sure some of you are aware that many times it is observed questions in the exam have appeared from the previous question papers. If you look at the last 10 years question papers, sometimes the questions have appeared as it is. Sometimes the question has been reframed, it has been asked in a different way using different set of words, but ultimately the same question is being asked. So if you want to get rid of your exam fear, you should definitely solve the last 8 to 10 years of question papers, right? Even if your test pattern has changed, nothing to worry, because if you refer to the previous question papers and if you solve them, you will have the confidence of having been able to answer those questions. Imagine if you are able to answer all the questions in the last 5 to 10 years previous solved question papers, then look at the amount of clarity, amount of confidence that will give you, and that is how you will be able to get rid of the exam fear. And of course, you have to definitely attempt a couple of mock tests. Mock test, as you know, means an exam, a test prepared in a similar pattern as the final exam pattern. So you should definitely attempt a couple of mock tests, because that will give you an idea and understanding of how much time you're taking for completion of one exam, how much time you're taking for answering one section, how much time you need to answer each question. Accordingly, you will be able to modify your preparation. Accordingly, you'll be able to structure your approach towards the answering the questions in the actual live exam. And these are the major 5 reasons why students experience exam fear. And of course, the main reason is that many students do not have a preparation plan. You know what? It seems one very accomplished person, he said, if he is given enough opportunity, he would actually spend almost 9 days of his time preparing for the exams, right? Or rather, creation of the summaries, preparing the mock papers, or looking at the various types of questions, etc. And then the last day would be to focus on how to address the actual questions in the exam. So preparing the your preparation plan itself, creation of a preparation plan itself is a very important criteria. And if you're not done that, I can understand how you are experiencing the exam fear, right? Now, couple of more reasons. Other reasons that students often have said as the reasons for their exam fear. Number one is that the fear of failure. You know what? Today there's peer pressure. I can understand. You want to get better marks than your classmates. Maybe you want to meet the expectations of your teachers, meet the expectations of your parents, of your siblings, your brothers and sisters. There's pressure from all around. That is true. Understand. We are all aware of that. And some students, because of that, they experience this fear of failure. What if I don't achieve those marks? What if I don't fulfill the expectations of my teachers or my parents? And that leads to the fear for them. Please understand that ultimately, whatever you decide will only influence the outcome in this world. which means if you are confident, if you are very strong in your basic concepts and fundamentals, you don't have to worry about not being able to meet the expectations of anyone else. And in fact, meeting expectations of anyone else becomes secondary. First, you have to focus on meeting your own expectations. So fear of failure is the outcome of the worry of not able to reach the expectations. Please also understand that the plus 2 exams are just one milestone in your entire life, right? Human life, which runs for almost 75 to 80 years on an average, what is this one exam? That's how you should look at. That way you'll be able to reduce your fear of failure, right? I'm not saying it's not important. Scoring the highest possible marks in plus 2 exams is very important, because that will have an impact throughout your career, even when you want to go for higher education, even want to go for employment in the future. So considering that, you should definitely perform better. You should plan to come out with flying colors, while at the same time understand that there is no need to worry about not meeting or meeting others' expectations. The second reason is that many students worry about being evaluated. Some students think, look, if I don't get 90% and above, I might be considered to be a student who is not intelligent. I might be considered to be a laggard. No, please understand. Today, many companies across the world, in India also, companies have started understanding that 99% is not very essential, and hence they have a cutoff mark 75%, 60%, which means if you fall into the category of 60% plus 75% and above, it is actually considered to be good performance, and hence do not worry about that, right? And the third reason is that the fear of high performers. Now some students compare themselves with other students who have always been the class toppers. Comparison is the root cause of every evil. Please understand. That is also leading to peer pressure. You should not compare yourself with anyone else. The reason is you are a unique individual. Look at this. Every human in this world is unique. I'm sure you agree with that. Millions and millions of people across the world, and in India itself, we have 135, 140 crore people, of which you are a unique individual. There is no point. It doesn't make sense trying to compare yourself with anyone else in this world. Forget comparing with people in your own class. That's the reason why you don't have to worry about comparing your performance with the high performers or the so-called class toppers. Because if you actually are able to create an excellent preparation plan, we still have adequate time. 26th April is another 18 days away. 18 days is huge amount of time for you to prepare for any set of exams. And that's the reason why we are conducting this session today, which hopefully will help you get more clarity, which will push you, motivate you to prepare well for your exams. Some students also have the fear of what next. What if I don't secure this much? What if I don't get admission into so and so course? What if I don't get a rank as expected? Nothing to worry. Please understand, there are always opportunities. You know what? There's an interesting saying in this world which goes like this. It says, if one door closes, if one door closes, 10 doors will open. I'm sure all of you agree with that. And I'm sure you also have experienced this many times in your own life, as a student, as a child, with your parents, with your siblings, in your own class. Isn't that true? That's the reason why what next is something you don't have to worry about it now. Keep it aside, focus only on performing better in your exams. And the most important thing, fear of the unknown. Sometimes I've asked students, what are you worried about? What are you stressed about? Students, I do not know, sir. I do not know. Which means students also have a fear of the unknown. So when your answer is, I do not know why I'm worried, there itself you have the solution. You don't have to worry about anything. All you have to do is look at some tips that we're going to discuss now. And you know what? Stress, when students use the word exam fear, it is the outcome of stress that is there inside. And there are two types of stress, it seems, in this world. Psychologists who actually have worked with students, who worked with children, etc., they said there are two kinds of stress possible. One is EU, on the screen as displayed. EU stress. The second is de-stress. Stress and de-stress. Stress is a positive stress. When you are confident, when you have clarity, when you are ambitious, when you want to perform better, when you want to prove yourself, all that also creates some stress. And that stress is a positive stress, which is needed, which is important, which is essential for us to perform better. Whereas on the other hand, there is something called de-stress, DE. It's a negative stress. That is the stress that pulls us down, that creates frustration, disappointment, helplessness in our mind. And why does it happen? We have already discussed the reasons. Let us now discuss how to address this, how to manage exam fear. Three major steps. Number one, you have to plan, which means you have to prepare a schedule based on day-wise timetable. We are on the 8th of April 2022. Your exams start on the 26th of April, which means another 18 days to go. So starting from today itself, after this session, spend at least 1.5 to 2 hours. What should you do in that 2 hours? Create a timetable for the next 17 days. Right from morning 6 o'clock from to evening 10 o'clock. If you wake up at 6 o'clock, from 6 o'clock to the time you go back to bed, you have to prepare a timetable, half an hour slots. Every half an hour, you have to write down clearly what is it you want to do in that half an hour. Very clearly, very specifically, you have to mention, right? Because that is a first step towards getting confidence. That's a first step towards performing high in the exams. The second step, you have to create. What do you create? You create mind maps, flashcards, chapter summaries, your own reference material, isn't it? I'm sure many of you heard of this word mind map or flashcard. For example, in subjects like mathematics, physics, and chemistry, you have a lot of formulae, you have a lot of important definitions, right? That you have to remember and produce in the exams. Formulae that you remember and apply in the exams for solving problems, right? So you have to actually prepare flashcards on a Word document on each sheet, sheet, put in just one formula or one definition or one concept. And then if you prepare a list of such formulae, prepare a list of such definitions, etc., let's say there are 100 of them in a subject, that becomes a set of 100 flashcards. Or on your Word document, you can actually divide the page into 4 boxes or even 8 boxes, depending upon the size of the concepts you want to put in. Likewise, a mind map. What is a mind map? I'm sure some of you are aware of that. A mind map is actually a graphical representation of all the concepts from a chapter. You take any chapter, let's say physics, if you have the topic sound or electricity, magnetism, etc., right? You take a small sheet of paper, right? Not the virtual paper in MS Word document. Take a hard paper, right? And on that, you actually draw a small circle in the center of the paper. Inside the circle, you write the name of the chapter, and then all topics, the major topics in that chapter, put them up around the circle in a fashion, and then under each topic add subtopics. In each subtopic, put in the important formula or the concepts or definitions or the type of the questions, type of the models that are possible. That becomes a mind map in one single sheet. Imagine if you have the entire chapter mind map like that. If there are 10 chapters in your subject and then you have 10 mind maps, if you have 8 subjects, there are 80 mind maps. You're done. And once you prepare these mind maps, you'll have complete clarity, you'll gain immense confidence. That is how all the high performing students have been doing all these years. Trust me, this is a technique, this is a method that works like miracle. So please do this. Prepare mind maps, prepare flashcards, chapter summaries, your own reference material. And then of course you have to practice. What do you practice? Solve the previous question papers, as we already said. Solve some mock tests, prepare your own question papers. Look at this. You have to prepare your own question paper for each chapter. That way you'll be able to start thinking the way the examiner might be thinking, and that will give you immense clarity as to what questions you can expect in the actual exam. These are the three major steps you have to follow. And of course, as we already said, prepare a clear timetable. If you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and if you plan to go bed at around 11 o'clock in the night, I'm just taking example, maybe some of you are waking up at 4:30, 4 o'clock, some of you wake up at 6 o'clock and go to bed 10 o'clock, that's fine. From the moment you wake up in the morning till the time you go back to bed, you have to prepare half an hour slots, prepare a timetable just like you had it in your school, college. You have to prepare a timetable for the next 17, 18 days also. Each slot should be not more than half an hour, 30 minutes. In that 30 minutes, let's say 6 o'clock, if you wake up 6 to 6:30, what will you do? You have to write it down on Monday. 6:30 to 7 o'clock, what will you do? 7 to 7:30, what will you do? 7:30 to 8 o'clock, what will you do? Like that, you have to do it till 10 o'clock, till the time you go back to bed. Even if you want to watch TV in the evening, 7 o'clock to 7:30, right? You have to include that also. 7 to 7:30, I'll watch TV, etc. Because every half an hour has to be accounted for. Many students don't do this. Some students do definitely prepare a timetable, but the kind of timetable they prepare is not structured like this. What they do is, okay, tomorrow 9th April I will study this chapter 1 from mathematics, chapter 4 from physics, chapter 3 from chemistry, etc. But that's not called a timetable. It's only list of chapter names you're preparing. You should actually prepare a timetable, half an hour slots. Against each half an hour, mention the topic or subtopic that will complete your study for. Got it? And while you're preparing this timetable, couple of important things you have to remember. Some things you have to remember to prepare a good timetable. Number one, you have to document your schedules in half an hour slots, or if you want 60-minute slots, not more than 1 hour each slot, right? Schedule in 60-minute slots from the time you wake up in the morning till the time to go back, you go back to bed. And you have to ensure that at least 2 hours every day are left vacant. Leave 4 slots. If you are preparing half an hour slots, 2 hours is equal to 4 slots. 4 slots should be vacant in your timetable. Do not fill up all these slots. Why, you might ask me? Because if you have those free time for 2 hours or 4 slots, let us say sometimes you may not be able to complete as per the timetable you prepared. Some topics are still pending. You will not know what to do. You will worry that again all the entire timetable for the next 1 week is also disturbed. That's the reason why this is a solution to ensure it doesn't happen. What is the solution? Every half an hour, when you write down your topics, or every 1 hour slot you put in your topics, I am saying every day ensure at least 2 hours equal to slots equal to 2 hours are free. You're not putting anything there. Just keep them idle. And in the day, if you notice that you are not able to complete a specific topic, some topic is pending, that pending topic you can actually slot against this free time, the free slot. You can complete any pending topics during the free hours. Hence, I'm saying 2 hours free time every day has to be part of your timetable. Now, you would ask me, what if I complete all the topics as per the timetable? Then I'll be left with 2 hours free time. Wonderful. Great. If that happens, some topics from tomorrow, bring them to today's free slots. Tomorrow, 2 topics, advance them, prepone them into today's timetable, complete them. That way, if you actually are able to do that every day, within the next couple of 14 to 15 days, you will complete your preparation. You still will be left with 1 or 2 complete free days before your exams, which is a wonderful thing to happen, isn't it? And of course, the third suggestion is that you have to use circadian rhythms. What's the meaning of circadian rhythm? Understand this carefully. Humans have something called a body clock. You know, if you're in the habit of waking up in the morning around 5 o'clock, let us say, and some students still set up their alarm. Nowadays, of course, I know you guys set up your alarm in your mobiles probably, right? So if you set up your alarm, many students, majority of you, I am aware that you wake up before the alarm rings. You're actually waiting for the alarm to ring so that you can press on it, you can shut it down, and then go back to sleep. Isn't that what happens? Now, how are you able to wake up before the alarm rings? Because there is a body clock inside, right? It seems some of us are very active in the mornings before 11 o'clock. Some of us are very active between 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Some of us are active from 4 o'clock to night 8 o'clock. Some of us are active from 8 o'clock to night midnight 12 o'clock. You have to observe what are the specific hours when I'm active. If you are a person who is active in the morning, let's say before 11 o'clock, you have to ensure that all your difficult topics you schedule for your preparation during that time only. Because if you have a high energy level, then you will be able to complete that preparation of those difficult topics easily. And that is called preparing your timetable based on circadian rhythm. Circadian means the body clock. I hope you guys understood. And of course, we already said this, use mind maps, graphical pictorial representation of the formula concept, because a picture always reinforces a concept. It is easy to remember concepts if you look at them in a pictorial form, and then reinforce the concept using infographics. We already mentioned this. Prepare flashcards for formulae. Use mnemonics for essays. I'm sure those of you are in mathematics stream, you know that in trigonometry we use some mnemonics like all students to take care, all silver teacups, to understand which quadrant, which trigonometric ratio is positive or negative, isn't that's called a mnemonic. You can prepare such mnemonics for all the concepts, as many as possible. That way it becomes easy for you to remember the concepts, and create mind maps, which we already mentioned. Prepare a list of all this for every chapter. Prepare a list of basic concepts, the formulae, and also short answer questions. Plus, prepare a model paper for each chapter. And finally, some more tips to help you manage the exam stress. Number one, avoid burning midnight oil. Do not stay awake throughout the night till morning 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. That will affect your health. It is very important you maintain your health until your exams are over, right? And hence, ensure you do not burn midnight oil. On the day of the exam particularly, ensure you get a good sleep the previous night. Reach the exam center at least half an hour early. to ensure that you are not stuck in the traffic, right? If your exam is scheduled at 8 o'clock, ensure you reach the exam center by 7:30 minimum. And of course, avoid discussing any topics or concepts with your friends and classmates. This is very, very important. Understand this, remember this. Students sometimes, when they meet the classmates, friends in the near the examination hall, they start discussing some concepts from a particular chapter for a particular subject. In the process, suddenly if someone mentions a topic, and if you remember that you're not prepared for the topic, that will create a lot of stress for you, which will affect your performance in the exam. So even if your friends come to you and start explaining you some topics or formula, tell them, look, I've already prepared all of that. I am not interested in discussing those concepts now. You have to avoid discussing concepts or formula or anything else before the exam with your friends particularly. And wish everyone with enthusiasm, speak to everyone cheerfully. It is a very important thing. And after the exam, when the exam is over, when you reach home, check which topics and questions you were able to answer easily, which of them you are not able to answer properly and easily, which you found difficult, and what is it you can do to ensure that you perform better in the next exam. These are the tips which can help you reduce your exam fear, reduce your exam stress, reduce your exam strain, and ultimately you will be able to come out with flying colors. Yeah, wonderful. Thanks a lot, guys, for paying attention. I'm sure all of you have taken notes, and I'm sure these tips will go a long way in ensuring and helping you that you perform to the best extent possible in your exams. Now, quickly, we can actually look at a couple of questions you guys might have for us. We'll address each of them. Okay, so I have one question with me on the screen. Ankit says, how can I overcome fear of my class 12 board exams, stress about not getting good marks? Ankit, I guess we already have addressed that in the last almost 30 minutes, 35 minutes we have spent discussing all of that. My suggestion is refer to the notes that you might have taken the last half an hour, right? Lot of tips we discussed. Please apply them. We'll move on to the next question. This question is from Manish. Manish says, why PCM is considered mandatory in the exam fear? And hence, is part of physics, chemistry, and mathematics, isn't it? If you look at the way these subjects are taught, these subjects are physics, chemistry, and mathematics. All three of them, if you look at any topic, take electricity, magnetism, even in mathematics, take coordinate geometry, whatever. All those topics are actually, even in chemistry, organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, physical chemistry, all of them actually are based on logic, based on application of the logic, plus analytical ability, reasoning ability, numerical ability, which are very essential to get into the technology sector. And that's the reason why, not only in India, worldwide, physics, chemistry, maths, PCM is considered to be mandatory to get into technology sector. We'll move on to the next question. The next question is from Ajay from Delhi. He says, the more exams are coming near, I don't feel like studying. What should I do? Yeah, I can understand, Ajay, because we all have been through that phase at some point of time or other. Now, first thing you have to ask yourself is, why don't you feel like studying? You know what? Often the reason is you are not able to see what happens after the exams. What happens if you secure high marks? What happens if you are able to perform well in the exams? Look at this way. Imagine if you're able to secure excellent marks in your curriculum, in your exams now, in your board exams. How will it help you? Many ways. Understand this, Ajay. Not only Ajay, everyone else in this session. As I already mentioned, yet the marks you secure in your class 12 are going to have an impact in your career, in your life, throughout life. The impact, the effect doesn't stop here. Please understand that. When you apply for your higher education, graduation or post graduation, your MBA or whatever, MTech, BTech, whatever that you want to aspire to do, wherever you go for higher education, the marks you secured in +2 are going to be considered the benchmark to evaluate your performance, your intelligence, your ability to learn. The second, when you plan to go abroad for higher education also, right, even there your marks in +2 are considered to be essential. Why in India itself, whenever you want to go for higher education, right, even after you enroll for the HCL TechBee program, even after you want to go for higher education, your marks at the +2 level are also going to be considered to be a good benchmark. And of course, later when you want to get into employment, there also +2 marks are considered to be an important benchmark. Understand, Ajay, that if you perform well in these exams, you will get huge benefits from that. And if you do not perform well, your entire career, entire life is going to be decided by the performance in these exams. I hope now you have a reason why you should study. Now you have clarity as to why you should. Still, if you feel like not studying, one thing you can do is, if you can actually identify one of two of your classmates who stay close to you, see if you guys can meet and do combined study. If that's not possible, meet online over Zoom or any other. Today, I'm sure I don't have to tell you. You guys know how to have a video call online, isn't it? Invite one or two of your friends. Discuss as a group the concepts from every chapter. That becomes more interesting. That way, you will be able to get rid of this feeling of not wanting to study, not feeling good about studying. Ajay, that addresses your question. Next, let's look at the next question. This question is from Sarita from Noida. How can we deal with the pressure from our friends, peers during the exam days? Sarita, we already discussed that. One aspect we discussed. I know there will be peer pressure. There will be pressure from friends also. No, your friends might be calling up and saying, "Hey, Sarita, did you complete that topic? Did you complete this chapter?" And then you suddenly remember you have not even touched that chapter at all. You're now worried because you're probably focusing on something else, and you realize that this is something you're not prepared for. So you want to now go there. Someone else tells you another topic, you will run there. This is not how you should prepare for the exam. So my suggestion, as I said, first thing is that even on the day of the exam, after you reach the exam center, do not engage in any discussion on the topics or subjects or chapters, whatever related to the topic for that day. The reason is, if you realize suddenly that there's a new topic, some topic that you're not touched upon, it can create a lot of stress for you, which will affect your performance in the exam. And even before that, in the next 10, 15 days, 17 days time that we have, even if your friends try to catch up with you and say, "Look, have you studied this, have you studied that?" Just tell them, if you're done it, fine. You tell them, "Yeah, I've already done that." If you're not done, say, "Yeah, I'm not done that, I will do that, because this is when I want to do that." And you know what, you'll be able to answer that comment from your friends. You'll be able to deal with the pressure from your friends and peers by preparing your preparation plan. As we already discussed, create your preparation plan. Imagine if you have the entire preparation plan ready for the next 12 days, 10 days, 15 days, you have immense clarity. That will give you huge amount of confidence, because you know that you have complete control on your performance in the exam. You have complete control on your preparation for the exam, and then automatically that will affect your performance in the exam in a very positive manner. And even if your friends call up, you can say, "Look, that topic I just completed yesterday." Or if you're not completed, you can say, "Look, that topic I'm going to complete on the 12th of April, afternoon 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. I already have put it in my preparation plan." And hence, creating a preparation plan is very essential. Sarita, I hope you have addressed your query. We'll move on to the next question. The next is from Ravi from Delhi. Due to this COVID situation, which is now slowly getting back to normal, what strategies should we adopt for future proofing our careers? Ravi, first thing is, do not worry about the future, which is 5 years, 10 years, 20 years away, and do not worry about how COVID kind of situation will affect you in the future. My suggestion is, at least the next 15 days, the next 18 days, your complete focus should be only on your exams, on your preparation for this board exams, right? And once your exams are over, you'll have enough time to start looking at the future possibilities and opportunities. However, to summarize, as a response to your question in a brief manner, I would say any kind of exigency like the pandemic or any such situation which might happen in the future can be addressed, can be handled easily by people who are actually prepared for it. How do you prepare for it? Number one, focus on acquiring knowledge, skills, and abilities. Whatever domain you get in, whatever field you get in, become the expert in that field. Don't plan to become the master of everything. It is not possible, humanly not possible, right? Because when someone wants to become a master of everything, people can might finally become jack of all trades, master of none, isn't it? My suggestion is, be focused. Look at what is your immediate goal. Next 15 days, that is 2 weeks, and then the next 1 month goal, next 3 months, next 6 months, next 1 year goal, next 3 years goal, 5 years goal, 10 years goal, lifetime goals. Of course, this is not the time for you to start worrying about the lifetime goals, because now the immediate priority is focused on your exams, board exams. Once the exams are over, you'll have adequate opportunity to start looking at the next 10 years goals, 5 years goals. Yeah. Thanks, Ravi, for the question. Let's look at the next query. The next is from Ankur from Mumbai. Using social media to de-stress before the board exams, does that make sense or it impacts studies? Okay, I know this is a question that every student will have in their minds, whether I should continue to spend time on social media. So look at this. Some students definitely are able to de-stress themselves by engaging with friends, colleagues, etc. on social media. So if that is helping you, spend some time, definitely, no doubt, because socialization is something that humans are programmed to do. If you work in isolation, your performance can definitely go down. However, while at the same time, keep this in mind, when you're engaging in social media, there are a lot of things people share. Someone might say, look, I went to watch a movie yesterday, I went out with my friends and had an excellent party yesterday. All that will be distracting for you. Anything of that sort you should be able to avoid, and see if you can actually engage in healthy discussion regarding their own preparation plans. See if you can learn from how your friends, classmates are preparing, and see if you can embed them into your own preparation plan. So definitely, if you think that spending couple of minutes on the social media is helping to relax, please do that. I know that some of you are in that habit. Of course, ensure that it doesn't go beyond 15 minutes, 20 minutes in each day. The reason is, remember, you have a study plan that you have prepared. In that half an hour slot somewhere, you should have put in this also, right? As we already discussed, when you create the preparation plan for the next couple of days, we said every half an hour has to clearly specify what you're going to do, and everything you do in the day has to be part of that preparation plan. Even watching TV should be part of it, spending time on social media should be part of it, even just reading a book should be part of it, going out or playing games or whatever should be part of it. Everything you do in the day should be accounted for in the preparation plan. Then only it's considered to be a complete full-fledged preparation plan, right? But if you think that engaging in the social media is helping, is causing you worry that someone has gone out watched a movie which you're not watched, someone has gone out uh, enjoyed a lot at a party which you're not been able to do, that is all distracting. So avoid that. And I'm sure you are the best judge, because at your age, guys, when you're preparing for the plus one plus two board exam, plus two board exams, you're already grown up, you're adult enough to understand this and take appropriate decision. And I'm sure you create your preparation plan, ensure that you limit the time you spend on your social media, at least for the next 3 weeks time. Thanks, Ankur. Let's move on to the next query. The next is from Akhilesh from Haryana. He says, how can our parents help to keep us stress free during the exam days? Wonderful. Thanks, Akhilesh, for that question. There are a couple of parents also attending this session. I'm sure this question will be helpful for them as well. Now, as parents, you know, uh, first thing that we do as parents is that we have to ensure that we give complete freedom for the students to have the freedom to decide which subject to study which day. Because as parents, let's not put in that stringent conditions as to saying that, look, you have first complete maths, then go to physics, then only go to chemistry or something like that, because the students know better about their own ability to learn or their own preference for the sequence of learning. Second things, as parents, we have to ensure that we ourselves we ourselves stay away from the television, the idiot box, at least for the next 3 weeks time. Because when the parent is watching the TV, obviously that will be very attractive, that will be distracting for the kids also. Students at their age definitely will be distracted. They would also want to come and spend time watching the TV again. So as parents, let us also reduce the TV time, at least for the next 3 weeks until the board exams are over. The third, providing adequate food, right? Delicious, good diet, which helps the students to cope with the stress they have during this 3 weeks time, which means ensuring enough amount of proteins, carbohydrates, whatever that is needed. And if required, if they see a deficiency in the physical aspect of the student, maybe immediately address that issue by consulting an appropriate physician, a doctor, etc. Because taking care of the health of the students, health of the son and daughter today is very essential for the parents for the next 3 weeks time. Of course, every day, but now it's even more important, I'm saying. And then, of course, as parents, we have to ensure that we keep track of what the student is doing. Since we already discussed the need for creating a preparation plan, the need for various tips to be implemented, as parents, whatever notes you have taken in the last half an hour, 45 minutes, also please ensure that your son, daughter implements all of that. Sit with them, help them, be their friend, see if they can actually learn from your own suggestions, views, and inputs. You can also share your inputs on creating a better preparation plan. And as students, we should be willing to receive those inputs also. Yeah. And of course, as parents, sometimes you know what, there could be a possibility that there are conflicts at home. So as parents, the best that we can do is avoid all such things, ensuring that we provide the best possible environment to prepare for the exams for your son, for your daughter. This is the best thing that you can do, because the performance in the plus 2 exams is going to impact their entire life. This is the most important phase they are in. So as parents, that's the best thing we do. Thanks, Akhilesh, for asking this question. We'll move on to the next. The next is from Anil from Meerut. He says, the biggest fear we have in our minds is not being able to secure a merit rank without which we may not get admission in the college of our choice, and that will further impact our careers. Okay. So I guess we already addressed this, Anil, in the last half an hour. However, since you asked it now, let me quickly address that. If you have a fear that you might not secure a merit rank without which you may not get admission in the college of your choice, please understand that worry you have is not helping you. The more you worry, the more it will affect your performance. So look at it this way: trust yourself, believe in yourself that you ultimately are in control of your life. That has happened in the past also. Isn't that true? In the school, 7th class, 8th class, 9th class, 10th class, the way you prepared has actually affected the way you perform in the exams, which means you have been able to prove that you are in control of your marks that you get, the ranks that you secure. That is going to be true again even in the board exams. So you are in complete control. You don't have to worry about what if you don't secure the rank. That's fine. You put in your best effort and leave things to happen on their own. You know, there's a concept called proactiveness. Have you heard of this? I'm sure all of you heard of this. Proactiveness, which means taking responsibility for whatever happens in your life. If you take the responsibility for whatever happens in your life, you will implement everything we discussed in the last 40 minutes. And trust me, if you implement everything that we discussed in the last 40 minutes, you will not have the worry about not, or the fear about the exams, the fear of not securing a good rank. By chance, for some reason, let us assume you don't secure the rank that you expected, your parents expected, your teachers expected of you. That's fine. This is not at the end of your life, because there is still a huge, lengthy life, exciting life ahead of you. That's how you look at it. And remember, we already said, if one door closes, remember, Anil and everyone else, if one door closes, 10 doors will open. Whatever happens is for our own good only. Believe this. Let's move on to the next query. The next question is from Shipra from Nagpur. She says, how TechBee will be a reliable program if we cannot crack competitive exams? Wonderful question, Shipra. Now, I know that most students are plan to appear for different competitive exams for higher education, etc. Right? What if you don't crack those competitive exams? That's the question you're asking, Shipra. My response is, even if you happen to crack that competitive exam, you should still consider the HCL TechBee program. You know why? There are three essential reasons why you have to consider this. Let me explain. You know, in the world today, sorry, all big companies, businesses are complaining, saying that they are not able to get skilled employees. Why do you think that's happening? How come every year in India alone, we have more than 12 lakh engineering graduates coming out of the colleges and universities? Are you aware of that? 12 lakh, 1.2 million, that is 12 lakh engineering graduates are passing out of the colleges, universities every year in India alone. But however, companies are continuing to say, look, we're not getting adequate manpower, we're not getting skilled people, we're not getting dedicated people, we're not getting knowledgeable people, we're not getting properly qualified people. What is the meaning? Where is the lack in it? Where is the gap? The reason is that often students just pass out of their curriculum by passing the exams without gaining any skill. They have the knowledge, but they've not learned how to apply the knowledge, which means they don't have the skill. And hence, companies are worried. You know what? The HCL TechBee program is completely skill-based program. Once you enroll for it, the next 1 year, sorry, the next 1 year, you will see the kind of skills that you will be able to acquire. You will first gain knowledge, you learn how to apply the knowledge, you will understand how to acquire the skill, and when you start applying the skill, you practice that skill, you will become an able person. The second thing is that, second thing, you will be able to not worry about what next. Often, even after people get through competitive exams, get into higher education, they still are not clear about what's going to be the future, what's there in store for their future. Whereas with the HCL TechBee program, your future has been clearly laid out for you. There's a clear career path which is already scientifically reliable and valid career path which has been defined, structured, and nicely planned for you by the best experts possible in the world. That's the reason why you have to look at this HTL TechBee program. Even if you happen to crack, and if you do not crack the competitive exam, that's fine. This is that's the best thing that can happen. And the third reason, often when people crack a competitive exam, they get into, let's say, higher education, engineering, the computer engineering. People come out of the college without a job in hand. What's the point spending 4 years of engineering curriculum without an employment opportunity in hand? Whereas with the HCL TechBee program, you are aware, I'm sure, that by the time the first year is over, you are able to acquire all the skills, and then you are job ready. You get the opportunity to become a part of HCL employee team. Isn't that wonderful? And hence, don't worry about what happens if you don't crack the competitive exam. HCL TechBee is still available even if you crack the competitive exam. That addresses your query. Shipra, let's move on to the next query. Guys, I think we have another 3 to 4 minutes time for the session. Let's try and address as many as possible. This question is from Eshika, Noida. Eshika says, sorry, will TechBee really help me pursue higher education parallelly without being a financial burden on my parents? Yeah, that's what is the opportunity available for you. In fact, once you enroll in this first year, once you are able to complete that first year of training and you become on board, you come on board with HCL team as an employee, then you have the opportunity of pursuing your higher education without burdening your parents. The reason is you already have you would have started earning, right? And while parallelly, depending upon where you are posted, South India or North India, you will get the opportunity to actually pursue your higher education with the best of the best universities. South India, we have universities. North India, we have universities. The Shastra University in South India, Birla University, Amity University in the North India, you have the opportunity of pursuing your higher education from them without burdening your parents. That's the main reason why many students who are already opted for this last year, before last year, and the year before, all the students, if you ask them, they'll tell you this is one main reason why they decided to enroll for the HCL TechBee program. Thanks, Ashika. Let's see if there's another question. Yeah, this question is from Rahul from Noida. He says, we have spent 2 years studying online. Will it make more sense to take courses like TechBee, which are still running on hybrid mode, so that we are well prepared for all kinds of situations? Obviously, Rahul, the reason is, you have been studying 2 years online. The entire world has been doing it. And now with HCL TechBee, as you're aware, the hybrid mode is running, right? Very soon, if everything comes back to normal, it will be 100% offline, right? Either way, whether online, hybrid mode, or offline, all the inputs that are being shared with the learners like you as part of the program have been designed by the best of the best pedagogists, which means, I'm sure some of you heard of this word, pedagogy, andragogy. It's a science that deals with designing course curriculum to ensure the outcome that is expected. And HCL TechBee program is also based on such standardized, reliable, and valid approaches which ensure that the curriculum itself is well built. Whether it's done in the offline mode, or online mode, or in the hybrid mode, you stand to gain the best of the best inputs possible. You'll gain the skills. Ultimately, you'll become job ready. Thanks, Rahul. Yeah, I guess we are done with the questions. Yeah. So thanks very much, guys. It's been a wonderful experience for me sharing my thoughts with all of you. Best of luck for your upcoming exams.
Thank you all for joining in, and thank you, Mr. Bhaskar Karmapudi, for sparing your valuable time. All the very best to the students for your board exams, and wish you all a very wonderful career ahead. Thank you.
In India, there are few institutions which prepare you or make you job ready. So there is a lot of competition to go into that institution.
As we know in India, a guy who is pursuing BTech or MTech, he's doing his master. After that also he's unable to get a job. I interacted with so much technologies. I interacted with Java, C++, and I'm doing practical also.
Cloud computing, cybersecurity, operating system, basic and advanced, networking, basic and advanced, and parallelly we are learning communication skills also.
I, before getting into HCL TechBee program, did not know that I had leadership skills, good communication skills and all.
Giving opportunities to a 12th grade student, it's giving opportunities to fresh minds.